Let's Hope here at Crafty Hope, and welcome to my messy desk. I am finishing up iCAD. There's just a few days left of it, but I really wanted to jump in and do one of my finding the words before the month is over. So my finding the words journal series is something I came up with end of last year that I thought, what if instead of, because I tend to have a formula with how I work, and I don't always know the direction I'm heading until I get there. And I thought, what if I started with a prompt that gave me a sentiment that would kind of drive that? So I'm gonna pick out 3 sentiments. This is my little can that I've got like little clipped words or stamped things or whatever, just found words. And I'm gonna pull out 3 sentiments and then pick one of those 3 to create in my junk journal. So that's kind of the premise of this. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. If you have any questions at all, please ask. I'd be happy to answer. So if none of that is clear, so I'm gonna reach in here. I'm gonna shuffle it a little. I feel like the last time I felt like some of those words I had seen before. Okay, so here we have through the looking glass. Oh, y'all, I do like that. Then I've got life is about creating yourself. That looks like something I typed up on the typewriter. And then, what is this? Twilight on the trail. Oh, those are all good, and they're all typed. So, I think I'm going to go with life is about creating yourself. It's definitely been a sentiment that's been on my brain lately. And that may go really well with last month's page where I have just the word create on here. So I think that'll work out well. All right, I'm going to prep my journal real quick, get some papers to hide everything, and get to it. Let me apologize first for a couple things. One, for the fan noise in that previous clip. The air conditioner was running. It's running all the time. It's South Alabama. It has been like, in the upper 90s with a real feel of the like 113 to 115. So the air conditioner runs constantly. So I apologize for that. My craft room overlooks the outdoor AC unit thing, so I'm sorry about that. Secondly, I've got a new camera, and the coloring of this video is going to be like weird overall. So anyway, I went into this journal with some collage. It's just how I start things. I'm using my fluid matte medium. I think I used my Oohoo for just a minute there. That's a glue stick. And then I'm using the fluid matte medium because I put down a couple of fairly transparent things. You can see on that upper left some tissue paper, and then some other kind of paper that my friend Terry gifted me a while ago that is just luscious. And I don't think I covered, well, maybe I covered most of the card. It was kind of slick, but I liked some of the graph that was in the background, and that was part of the reason I used those kind of transparent layers in that upper left, is I could see that graph there. And I think you saw, maybe, I pulled out a piece of lace and saw that was the exact right size, the height of this page, and I was like, well, we're going to use that later. So I put it on the side, my little monkey pen holders holding it. And then I pulled out this tea bag that still had the tea tag attached. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do something I've never done before, and that's leave this tea tag attached and alter it. So for now, I am sticking in the tea bag, and y'all, this tea bag is luscious. You see the dark browns I'm getting from it, layering it over different areas. I am definitely going for a super grungy page today, and that kind of will match the previous one, so that kind of works. So, and you can see already too, I've got some ledger paper down. Now that ledger paper has been eco dyed, so it's grungy as well, but it's still got those green tones. So I'm gonna kind of stick to the green colorings for this journal page. So once I get all of these tea bag pieces down, I think I'm gonna go ahead and dry this in a second. No, I'm gonna do something else. What am I gonna do? Oh, heavens. I don't remember. Oh, I think I'm going to go ahead and start altering that tea bag. That tag, the tag. And I'm going to use some of the papers that I had collaged already down on there. There's some kind of like construction booklet. It's like a catalog of like door frames and windows and things like that. And it's got some like interesting graphs and things in it as well. So I'm going to use this bit of paper and put it over that green tag. Just using, I'm using my Oohoo glue stick. And I'm also making sure I go over like the holes where that string is attached. I feel like if I go over it, that'll reinforce this a little bit more. And of course, the way it tore and everything, it's not going to cover the whole thing. So this little bit that I'm going to tear off here, yeah, I'm just going to stick it up over where that green is showing up there. Yeah, and I'm going to trim it just a little bit because I think the like edges of this were kind of beveled, so they were like angled at the corners, and I didn't like the floppiness of that. So, yeah. And then I think I will come in and dry the whole page along. Yeah, use my heated craft tool and get it all dry. So once that is dry, I'm coming in with a couple of, these are my new favorite thing, I think. It's PaperArtsy Infusions. Is a powder, like a pigment powder with walnut stain crystals in it. So they're all a little bit grungy. And I have taken the powders and made some sprays out of them, just adding water to them and dissolving them. Yeah. And so this one is Green Man. So I pulled it and another one out. I'm only going to use the Green Man. So you saw spray around on my page, brayer it out a little. Also sprayed my little tea tag there. And then I dried most of it, but there were a couple places that it was like super, I don't know, puddly. I had puddled it up. And that's fine because where I pick it up with that other paper, it leaves some like different marks as well, which is kind of fun. So I'm going ahead and adding some water to my yogurt tin of instant coffee. This is just instant coffee that has dried up, and I keep this on my desk to use because I love the way that the instant coffee picks up like layers, especially with like this tea bag. So I'm gonna put a little bit around on the page and then splatter some of it on the page as well as on the ones. Oh no, I didn't splatter. Oh, I splattered it on one side and painted it on the other side of the tea bag. But the tea tag, y'all, I'm gonna do that repeatedly, I'm sure. Once I had plenty of coffee on there, I started to dry it. But then I was seeing some angles and lines in what I had painted on that I wasn't digging. So I took a wet paintbrush and just kind of pulled that out a little bit. Then it is completely dry. And you can see that brown color really gets pushed back. So I've noticed a lot lately that when I'm not sure what my next step is going to be, as I've been working with iCads, I tend to go ahead and just ink the edges of whatever it is I'm working on. Like thoroughly ink them with some walnut stain distress ink. So I went ahead and inked that tea tag and then decided that this page needed a touch of white, needed to be brightened up. I had gone too dark with the coffee. So this is some Waverly white chalk paint. It's been sitting on my desk since I did an assemblage project, and I've been working with it for white because it's a nice matte white, and y'all, this is old and it's starting to thicken up, and I just need to use it. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to use. And what I decided to do was, rather than doing like something mark making like that I would normally do, instead I am brightening it up with some white. And I encourage you to do that. If you have something that's starting to feel dark in some way, bring in a touch of white somehow, stamp it or paint it on or make some marks or whatever. And that's what I'm doing. These I'm kind of blending out. I don't know if you can see. I can kind of barely see it. I'm trying to keep the white as true because that coffee will absorb the white and turn it kind of brown too, because that coffee is water reactive. Of course. It is instant coffee. That's what it is supposed to do. So I'm trying to like layer up that white, especially in the middle of these blobs I've made. And then with my fairly dry paintbrush, I kind of went over some of the textury areas. And then I realized I didn't do anything with my little tea tag. So I'm going to grab that paintbrush that still has a little bit of that chalk paint on it and just kind of like smush it all over the card and then come in and dry both of these things. I decided that I wanted a little bit more concentration of that green man infusions. So here's my little jar of it, and I'm going to just sprinkle it on the page in a couple places and activate it. Now these are super fun because they have several different colors in them. So depending on how you use them, it'll like turn different colors. Like there's a touch of green in there, and there's a touch of brown, and maybe a bit of blue. And it's, yeah, I really like these. So I found them at joggles.com, just so I'll link Joggles website below so you can go look at them if you want. I have like a bunch of them now, like 13 or something crazy. So the whole time that I am working on this page, I was thinking about my sentiment there. The life is about creating yourself, and about the fact that like we should all, spend some time doing the things we enjoy, putting down the things we like. Like this page may not be something anybody else likes, but I was putting on it things I enjoy. I've been really loving those infusions. I've really been in loving that chalk paint. So I was really working toward just putting those things down that make me happy, because that's what we should be doing. I mean, as long as it's not hurting anybody else. I don't think I'm hurting anybody else with these videos, but so that's what it was in my mind. That's how I'm kind of bringing the sentiment into this. So you saw I kind of laid out my lace and was like, okay, it's going to go here. What else does this need? And I was really feeling like I needed something that was a little more fluid around on the page. That was like, I don't know, I call it like having some movement. So I took my chunky Papermate pencil and just scribbled around on the page. And then I wanted to add a bit of a little sparkle, a little shine, a little something special. And I'm doing that with a fine liner that has some gold acrylic paint in it. Now, this is just some craft acrylic paint. I actually just mixed it up for a class I am teaching at the end of August in Fairhope. If you want more information about that, let me know. You can check out my Instagram. I've got a post there about it. But I'm teaching basically how to make the mixed media cards that I do like iCAD. But anyway, I was mixing up some of these fine liners because that's just a folk art metallic craft paint that I was like, I don't even know how this works. So let me go use it and make sure it's something. And y'all, it has a great metallic color to it. I'm so happy with it. So I had been sorting through my, I think when I was pulling out the scraps to collage down there, I found that little die cut flower that at some point I had put a bunch of coffee over the top of. And I thought, oh my gosh, this blue-green goes perfectly with the colors that are on my page. I'm going to use it. So I did ink it up with my walnut stain distress ink. But once I put it on the page, it almost matches too much. So to kind of separate it from the overly matchiness, I grabbed some cheesecloth, some white cheesecloth, and kind of, you saw, cut it down, bunched it up, and then I laid down my lace. And from there, I'm like, okay, I just have to figure out where the sentiment goes, and then I can kind of start bringing this page together. So I did cut down my sentiment and ink it up as well, and that for me just helps give it some shadow so that it doesn't like just blend into the page. It has, I don't know, more of a presence, more of a finished feel. And this is something I never do. I never put my sentiment like off to the side like that, where you have to kind of turn the page to read it. But because this flower doesn't really have like a top or a bottom or whatever, this page can be a different page. It's, it's about how you create it. So yeah, that kind of brings in that sentiment as well. I'm using the Beacon 3-in-1 to stick down the cheesecloth, and my that die cut flower, and then along with my lace. Now when I put my lace down, I'm going to like run my finger over where I'm putting that beacon, because that beacon has a tendency to get like real shiny, and I did not, I wanted the gold to be the only shiny thing on this page. So once that's down, I think I'm just going to use my Oohoo to stick my sentiment down. But first I was like, oh yeah, I need to have my tea tag kind of tie in as well. So I snipped off a little more cheesecloth, and I'm going to stick it down also. And I'll have to find a little sentiment for it. So we'll get to that in a second. I think I'm going to go ahead. What am I going to do? Yeah, before I stuck, I wanted a sentiment that kind of went with my found word sentiment, and I saw the word happiness on these Tim Holtz clipping stickers, and I thought, well, that's perfect. Life is about creating yourself and creating your happy. So I'm gonna cut out the word happiness to put on my tag. I will ink it up as well, and I'm gonna try to just use the Oohoo glue stick to stick it down, but it's I'll have to bring in that Beacon 3-in-1 because it did not want to stick to that cheesecloth with just the glue stick. And I'm trying to think, once I get that done, is that everything? I feel like I'm gonna do something else. Oh, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna grab, once I pull off my little weight from my die cut, I'm gonna realize that I don't really have any of that gold tied in to my little floral arrangement there, so I'll use my Uniball Signo gold gel pen to pull that all together. And that's, for me, there's a lot of balance of, does everything kind of match each other? Does it relate? Sometimes it's nice to have it stand out, but sometimes I need it to make a little more sense. So that's what I'm going to do, is accent that flower, and then I am done with this journal page. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions about my process or materials or anything I've mentioned in here that I failed to explain, let me know. I'd be happy to answer that for you. I'm so glad you decided to come over and spend this time with me. I know your time is important, and the fact that you came over here and spent it with me means a whole lot. So thanks. I hope to see you again, and thanks for watching. Bye.